I did enjoy reading all of those silly tweets online stating they're so happy the Queen isn't here to see all of this, not knowing if the Queen was alive, she would really show you what a ride or die mother looked like. Buongiorno freaks and geeks, welcome back to the channel.
Everybody wanna be demon till they get chipped by your throwaway.
I'm not dancing because I'm happy.
Have you ever played? Have you ever? Okay, nigga, let's play.
I'm not dancing because I'm sad.
I know some shit about niggas that make gonna wanna look like a saint.
I'm dancing because on his 66th birthday, Andrew Albert Christian Edward Mountbatten Windsor, how could he not grow up to be a twat with that name, was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. That's all we know at the moment, so we shouldn't go and start speculating. I'll wait to the end of this video to do that. But in the meantime, let's see how Channel 4 News has decided to frame this momentous day in history. But before I press play, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me down below whether this is the first domino in the downfall of the monarchy.
Well, joining me now from central London is the former advisor to Yvette Cooper and Home Affairs specialist Danny Shaw. And here with me outside Buckingham Palace, the royal commentator Sarah Hewson. Sarah, first of all, I mean, unprecedented is an overused word in the media. This is unprecedented and monumental.
Absolutely seismic, Christian, and we are in uncharted territory.
Of course, because we're used to the royal family just getting away with whatever the hell they want. Let's not forget the royal family is the last remnants of the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth wasn't born out of sunshine and rainbows. They did absolutely terrifying and horrific things that you can't even imagine of in your worst nightmares. To have a empire that never had a sunset, which was the phrase used. It definitely is something different that a member of the royal family, you can take away all the titles you want, but a member of the royal family was taken in and at least fingerprinted. Oh my gosh. The reason I'm laughing is because Andrew had every single advantage in life and he still got arrested. I had none of those and I haven't been arrested. Touch wood, I never get arrested, but damn. You can't make this up.
We have the king's brother, 8th in line to the throne.
Could you repeat that?
Also, the fact that they still mention he's 8th in line to the throne means that it doesn't matter that he lost all these titles, because if he whacked off 7 people, he would be king of this country. At this point, that might be his only answer. He has to kill them all right now before the police decide to actually do their job. So yeah, all this theatrics of his titles being taken away isn't worth a damn, because he is still in line for the throne.
A man born inside those walls of Buckingham Palace, who is today spending his 66th birthday in police custody. This is a huge crisis for the royal family, a family crisis, but also for the monarchy. And what we saw in that statement released by the King earlier today, a very cold statement, a very serious statement, was an attempt again to distance them from Andrew Mountbatten.
And that was nothing but smoke and mirrors. King Charles basically came out and just said,
"No, they expect one of us in the wreckage, brother."
But we know behind closed doors, they are as tight as ever. I mean, the royal family would rather kick out people because they don't like racism than a person that was accused of noncery. Just think about that for a moment.
Are they throwing him to the wolves? He's the sacrificial lamb to save the monarchy.
Well, I mean, they did that in October, didn't they, when they stripped him of his titles and no longer a prince, no longer a duke, plain old Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
But they didn't kick him out of any of the houses that they own around this country. So did they really do anything to him?
They did it again in the past couple of weeks when they kicked him out of Royal Lodge to more humble surroundings on Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate.
More humble.
Far more humble surroundings for him today.
Danny Shaw, let me bring you in. I mean, tell us about this charge. It's not a charge yet, but the crime that they are investigating, misconduct in public office. How easy is that to define?
Misconduct in public office is a tricky offence to prosecute and to secure a conviction on. It's an ancient offence, goes back several hundred years.
And you'd wonder, something that goes back so far, how many people have actually felt the rough end of that particular law? I mean, the maximum sentence is life in prison. And I don't think I've heard of anyone getting life in prison under that particular law. Yeah, again, what are they? Well, I have my suspicions what they are tossing us Andrew for. Yeah, you tell me down below, why do you think they decided to really arrest him? I mean, they must have had so much evidence before. All you need to do is just, I don't know, request a talk with the many police officers or security personnel that had to ferry him around, especially when he had to go and meet Jeffrey Epstein when he did come to the UK. So this is all nice and all, but there's definitely something deeper going on.
And what it essentially amounts to is saying, well, you are a public office holder, you have a position in government or representing the government, and you have done something which has, is so bad that it's sort of brought that office into disrepute. You've either done something deliberately or through neglect. There have been successful prosecutions. One thinks of prison officers and police officers who were passing information for money to journalists, some 10, 12 years ago, offences like that. And there have been other such cases like that as well.
This would be a good time to mention that the officers that were taken to court under this same law in regards to the Hillsborough disaster actually were acquitted. So this has me thinking again, even if they managed to charge he's not Prince anymore, Nonce Andrew, even if they are able to bring him to court, the likelihood of him being found guilty, and even more than that, the likelihood of him spending a day in prison are close to none. Again, are we really going to be smiling over theatrics right now? I know I was doing a little jig in the beginning, but to be serious for just one moment, what will really happen with Andrew?
But it is difficult to prove, and it's such a tricky offence that it's actually going to be scrapped. There are two new offences that are going to become law when a bill that's currently passing through Parliament gains royal assent.
Is it clear that he is a public official?
Well, that's something that I would have thought the police would have taken legal advice on and would have to be pretty certain about that to bring him in for questioning as part of this. We understand that this relates to his time as a trade envoy.
And this is where I truly got tripped up. I really believe that all members of the royal family, or at least acting on behalf of the crown, were public officers. I mean, they are funded by the public, and it is a position that is passed from person to person, so anyone can fill the position. So how would they not public officers? I know this is dating back to when Andrew was a trade representative for 10 years, mind you, from 2001 until 2011, until he got unceremoniously booted, given that he couldn't submit expenses properly or something like that. So yeah, that's where I'm actually shocked. I thought they were always, and then even after that, when he was no longer trade representative, He started performing duties on behalf of the Queen. How are you not a public officer at that? Like, they need to really, and I hope these 2 new laws that are coming into effect in the summer really address that, because there's no way you can say someone acting on behalf of the Crown isn't a public officer. Crying out loud. Please.
Representing the UK, travelling overseas for over a decade. And they would have been pretty certain about that, I think, before launching this investigation, bringing him in for questioning.
Sarah, I mean, obviously this is about the emails, as far as we know, the misconduct in public office. It doesn't go to the other allegations that Thames Valley are also investigating, which are about trafficking.
No, and what's remarkable about this is this has only emerged since January in the Epstein files. We have had years and years of allegations around sexual misconduct, around trafficking by Jeffrey Epstein. Allegations Andrew has denied any misdoing, any wrongdoing.
Of course he's going to deny it. What person in their right mind is going to come out and say, yeah, I definitely was doing that, all with the big Steen. Come and get me. I mean, come on, guys. He had to say that. That is a prerequisite for any criminal. I didn't do it. Only the criminally insane admit to anything. And then even at that point, they will say, oh yeah, diminished responsibility. So yeah, don't give me that hogwash.
Which the police didn't investigate.
Which the police didn't investigate. And actually, what is saddening today is that it has been very quick to arrest Andrew on allegations of misconduct in public office. But all of those years where Virginia Giuffre has been making her allegations and pushing, and the victims and survivors of Jeffrey Epstein have been desperate to see justice, they haven't seen that.
Because the police are not there to protect the vulnerable. The police are there to protect capital. And it's only now they've decided to arrest Andrew because he has become too toxic to keep within the inner ranks of the Crown. It's that open and shut. This doesn't change the institution one bit.
And they still haven't seen that today. Yes, we've had the statement from Virginia Giuffre's family to say that this is the moment they've been waiting for, but actually this doesn't yet acknowledge any of the suffering of Jeffrey Epstein's victims.
When you think about who else is going to have to be questioned as part of this investigation, palace staff, potentially politicians, other members of the royal family, I mean, I bet they'd like to question the king, but any prosecution gets brought in the king's name, so I guess they can't.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
Isn't that just completely stupid? So you telling me because every prosecution is brought in the king's name, you cannot bring... That means he could legitimately go out in public and murder someone and he couldn't... Is that what you're telling me right now? That... I hope I'm being hyperbolic right now. That is just insane if true.
I mean, this is just the beginning of, you know, an enormous scandal.
It is the very beginning of a very long and grim and difficult story. And you're right, because Andrew, as a member of the royal family, a former prince, a former trade envoy, does not operate in isolation or as an island. Everywhere that he went, he was surrounded by aides or security. What did they know? They
know everything, but likelihood is they will say nothing because they either had to sign a non-disclosure agreement or were told in no uncertain terms, if you even make a peep, we will drown you in the closest body of water. It's one big gang and you're not part of it. Who did they tell? What did they see? What was known inside palace walls? There are some very, very serious questions still to be answered.
Danny, I mean, the people who will know a lot of the secrets are, of course, the police protection officers. How will Thames Valley Police approach trying to get the truth out of them? Remove their fingernails, I don't know, employ waterboarding. I'm sure Guantanamo Bay has enough tips about extracting information out of people. To be honest, I don't care what you do,
just get them to squeal?
Well, some of them may already have contacted police. We won't necessarily know about that or have been told about that. And if they believe that the protection officers can provide further information, they'll contact them and ask them if they've got information that's useful for the investigation.
How could they not have information that could further the investigation? That's their whole job. Unless his whole security detail was made up of Ray Charleses and Stevie Wonders, these people saw and heard everything. And I don't care if you have to drag them out of retirement or even dig them out of their graves. You need to get the information from them now.
But, you know, they will keep this very much under wraps. There's probably a lot of work going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of. My experience of these matters is that police are quite often one step ahead of us. And, you know, that I think was proved today when they launched this arrest.
You think the police were one step ahead of the public? It feels like the police have been 15 years behind the public. What do you mean? But I get the rest of what you're trying to say. They can't reveal every bit of information they have because that will be for Andrew's defense team. But yeah, don't act as if the police have done an outstanding job. Remember, they had to wait for the American government to release redacted information. So hold your horses in terms of giving credit to the Popo right now.
Everyone was expecting him perhaps to be interviewed under caution voluntarily, but the arrest gives them that element of surprise. It enables them to conduct immediate searches of his property, and it sends a very powerful message, doesn't it? It's symbolic. It says, we are taking this really seriously. No one is above the law. If we can arrest a member of the royal family, we can arrest anyone.
You only arrested a member of the royal family because maybe King Charles gave you the green light. Don't act like you're proper people who adhere to and challenge power. Someone gave you the green light to do this because they saw Andrew as the sacrificial lamb.
But earlier today, the Democrat Congressman Suhas Subramanian, who sits on the House Oversight...
Okay, we'll stop there. I don't need to hear from some American in relation to British affairs. So yeah, what do you think? Is this truly the end of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor? Will he see the inside of a jail cell or prison cell? But he'll probably go to one of those nice fancy open prisons where he gets to leave maybe every weekend and maybe evening as well. I did enjoy reading all of those silly tweets online stating they're so happy the Queen isn't here to see all of this, not knowing if the Queen was alive, she would really show you what a ride or die mother looked like. If the Queen was here, 99, 100 years old, the Thames Valley Police would have had to have gone to Buckingham Palace, booted down the door to the Queen's bedroom and walk in and find Andrew standing behind his beloved mother. We all know that the Queen's favourite was Andrew. I know there was some people trying to say it might have been Edward because Edward's the youngest, but I think by then both Elizabeth and Philip were just bored of having children. Andrew is and was the Queen's favourite, and it pains me to say it, the police would have had to have taken their baton and knock the fire out of the Queen's mouth just to get their hands on Edward, especially on his birthday. Do you think the Queen would have allowed them to arrest her beautiful baby boy on his 66th birthday? No way in hell. There are people that are saying this is the end of the monarchy. No, it's not. The monarchy's an institution. And if it was the end of the monarchy, then capitalism would truly be in decline. Let's not forget, the monarchy represents the pinnacle of capitalism. Without them, this whole house of cards falls down. They are institution. They will just replace Andrew. And if Charles has to step aside, he will have to step aside and William will be in charge. There's no way they're going to let this little blip destroy the monarchy. When it comes to other people with their dirty little fingerprints over this crime scene, King Charles is definitely there. He loaned his brother Andrew money when he had to settle his legal dispute. In total, Andrew was loaned £12 million. Some of the money came from the Queen, other bits of the money came from Prince Philip's estate, and a little tiny sliver came from King Charles. No one comes out of this clean. And like I said, if King Charles has to go, he will go. And then we'll have another weirdo in the shape of William.
That's a freak, as you would say, right?
Yeah, so tell me down below, will Andrew be charged? Will he face his day in court? Will he spend even a single hour in prison? If you like audiobooks, I voiced one. It's all about spotting red flags like Andrew in a relationship. Link in the description below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you very, very soon. Ciao.
There you go, acting like a hoe. There you go, acting like a hoe. Acting like a hoe, acting like a hoe.